What's up, YouTube? We got living with your parents in your 20s. Before we get into the video, I just want to say, in today's time, I believe, unless you're the age of 26 plus or 27 or above, living with your parents is okay. You know what I'm saying? Don't let the world's propaganda turn. You know what I'm saying? Like, when I say everything is fucking expensive out here, everything is very, very expensive. You know what I'm saying? So if you have the luxury of living with your mom or living with your dad for a long period of time, as long as you're doing something with your life, as long as you're, stacking your money up, you know what I'm saying? You're building your portfolio, you know what I'm saying? So you're ready to jump off the porch by your own self, and then you can support yourself. Do it the smart way. Don't just, you know what I'm saying, see society tell you that you got to leave your mom's crib, brother. No, stay with your moms. Stay with your moms until the time is right. Let's lock in. Let's get.
If you're in your 20s still living with your parents, you're a f***ing loser.
Like I said, don't listen to niggas like him, because I guarantee this nigga sound like he lived with his parents. But let's keep going.
No motion, no money, and especially no bitches. Yeah, that's what I used to think when I was a kid. I saw these movies and people on social media live out their lives after moving to their own place. I know it was very common in the old days and for the older generations to move out of the house very early. Like once you turn 18 and you're a legal adult, you go off on your own and buy a home for the cost of a McChicken. Back then, living on your own was a sign of being independent and having freedom. It was a standard. So for the ones who didn't move out, it was like there was something wrong with them. But fast forward today, yeah, that's just not happening.
And like this shit like that is just so sickening, because everybody, like all the older people, everybody in the older generations, they know this is what they used to do. When you turn 18, 19, 20, this was something, like, unless you were going to college, this is something that you were preparing for. You know what I'm saying? This is something you look forward to as a young adult, finally getting your own spot, getting your own, you know what I'm saying, your own place. You could follow your own rules, living by yourself. Now they're trying to make that practically like undoable. You know what I'm saying? Look at that. 2,400 for a 1-bedroom apartment. I guarantee that's in fucking New Jersey. That's why I had to get the fuck up out of there, because, you know what I'm saying, imagine trying to do that on the income of one person where the jobs aren't even paying that much. You know what I'm saying? Like, the prices for places to live would be justifiable if the cost, if the payment of the jobs that we were working, you know what I'm saying, were going up with it. You know what I'm saying? That's how it's supposed to work, ideally. You know what I'm saying? You want to raise the price of the housing, the foods, the cars, every fucking thing. You want to raise the price to everything. By all means, that's fine, but at least let the standard be $24 an hour, $25, $26. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're gonna raise the cost of living, at least pay niggas a little bit more so we could afford it.
The more I grew up, the more I realized that moving out isn't as easy as how people made it seem. With the economic state of the world, it's not realistic for someone to have their own place that young. Especially when you're like 18. Bro, you just got out of high school. You probably didn't work your entire life, and if you did, it was part-time at McDonald's or something. And even in your early 20s, most people just graduated college and have a ton of debt to pay off. So adding the cost of rent on top of that is just gonna be another financial drainage. Either that, or you barely started your career and have a little amount of savings, which won't be enough to buy yourself a home, that's for sure. The idea of getting your own place was kind of like a dream that I couldn't experience, at least when it came to my situation, because after high school, a good amount of people still move out of their parents' home for college. They'll be out living in dorms in a new environment. There's tons of events going on in a new city, and they're surrounded by people their own age too. It's exciting, it's fun, it's new. And after living in a bubble with your parents your whole life, that is the first thrill you get when you move to a new place. But meanwhile, I didn't dorm out. Tuition was already expensive, and I wasn't gonna pile on the cost of living on my own. And without any financial aid, the full price of a college dorm is close to $1,300 a month. And you're stuck with a roommate in a shared tiny room. So I didn't find it to be worth it, and I was a commuter to my local university. But not gonna lie, when I saw my mutuals post on social media about their college life and being in a new city, I would get some FOMO. Cause you see these people having the time of their lives, making a bunch of friends while you're still at home with parents. You wake up in the morning and you see mama and papa there, feeling stuck in the same place while you're watching others progress. There isn't anything wrong with living with parents, but there's just some things that you can't do around them.
And that's one of the things too, what I want to say, with our generation, with everything being online and everybody being online, everybody being in social media and consuming so much of it, there's so much FOMO. There's so much FOMO. You know what I'm saying? You always think that you're behind just because you don't have the latest car, you don't have the latest house, the nicest apartment. You know what I'm saying? You don't have the 1-bedroom studio high-rise penthouse that's looking over the city that also got a beach in the back with the fucking one car parking garage. You know what I'm saying? I feel like everybody feels like they're missing out on something. And the simple fact is, in this time, is like, not everybody has it like they're showing. Not everybody has it like they're portraying. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people just be lying. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people live their lives for validation through social media. In reality, they're not having it in real life. You know what I'm saying? And even if they are having it in real life, once they put their money towards what the shit that they're having and putting on display, gang, they're eating ramen noodles for the rest of the week. You know what I'm saying? They're taking they don't have gas for their car. You know what I'm saying? That fucking 50K vehicle that they put down fucking 2,500 for, that they're paying 600 a month for, they barely got fucking enough gas to roll that motherfucker to work every day. You know what I'm saying? So never, I ain't gonna say never get FOMO, because it's impossible. As humans, I feel like we are gonna get FOMO at one point in time, but it's like, try not to let that dictate your decisions. Try not to let it dictate how you see yourself. Try not to let it dictate where you are in life, make you feel type of way about yourself.
Like sometimes you want to bring your friends over to hang out and party. You can't do that with mom and dad around. Want to bring a girlfriend or boyfriend over? No privacy. You got to be careful on what you talk about on the phone because your parents might be listening in. Even with stricter parents, some people have curfews, which is kind of crazy if you're in your 20s. There's this app called Life 360 and it's kind of like sharing your location, except on steroids. Because not only do you know where a person is located, you get notifications of the extra details like when they arrived at this address, how long they stayed at this address for, how fast they were driving.
Did this nigga just random ad bomb us?
Comes with some restrictions, but it's not to the point where it's toxic and I feel like I have to move out. But after seeing both sides of it, being a person who stayed home and also seeing friends getting their own place, they both come with pros and cons. These are the trends I noticed. The biggest one being the financial benefit. Whoever stayed living at home typically had more savings than those who moved out. When I asked my friends to go on a trip, the ones who live in dorms have a way smaller budget than those who didn't. And it makes sense because they're the ones who have to shell out a couple $1,000s in rent every month. The ones who didn't pay rent, they could use their savings to go on vacations and splurge if they wanted to. It's like an unpatched method. Live with your parents to pay little to no rent and use that extra cash to go on your vacations. Living at home also gives you more free time too. Back in college, I was extremely locked in. I was working 2 jobs, full-time in school, at my prime in the gym, bench 225 at 130 pounds, you know what I'm saying? I fell off now, but a huge contribution to me being able to do all that was because I had the luxury of other responsibilities taken off my hands. I came home from an 8-hour shift and a meal was prepared by my mom. And because I didn't have to deal with the everyday chores like laundry, dishes, cooking meals, that opened up my schedule to be more productive on other things.
I'm not gonna lie though, bro. Some of these things that he's saying is like you could easily be doing. Like, you don't, just because you live with your parents, that doesn't mean that you should be negating yourself of responsibilities that you know that you're gonna have to be doing in the near future. You know what I'm saying? Just because you live with your parents don't mean that they need to be washing your underwear. They don't gotta be feeding you. They don't gotta be driving you from point A to point B. They don't need to be relied on financially. You know what I'm saying? You need to be preparing yourself to take that next step in your adulthood. Now, what he's saying is common in other cultures, and one thing I want to say too, I don't know what like where y'all come from, y'all background or whatever, but a lot of cultures don't mind their children staying behind. They don't mind babying these niggas until they like in their early 30s, and then they want to kick them out. But when it comes to black people, like, I don't know, it be the parents that can't wait for them little niggas to get out their house. It be the little niggas that can't wait to get out their parents' house. You know what I'm saying? Just to get that little bit of ounce of freedom that they wish they had when they was fucking 10 years old. I don't know where that stems from, but you know what I'm saying? Try not to let that, you know what I'm saying, that stigma of our people and our culture rush your process. You know what I'm saying? Don't let it rush your process. Stay with your parents as long as you need possibly be. As long as it makes sense for you and it's a viable option and you're not, you know what I'm saying, disrespecting their rules, but also you're preparing yourself to take that next step in life. You know what I'm saying? Don't be that nigga who turned 26 and 27 and you move out and you don't even fucking know how to do laundry. You don't know how to operate a dishwasher. You don't even know, you know what I'm saying, the basic necessities of living by yourself. Learn these things while you stay with your parents. Learn these things.
Now that I think about it, I would be broke as hell if I had my own apartment. Because not only would I be working less hours because I would spend time doing household chores, but every penny I earned working would have to be used for rent. I would be in a cycle of brokenness. Like, I would be working all these hours just to pay for my living expenses and going back to...
He gets it. He understands it. That's all this adulting shit is right now. You know what I'm saying? Is go to work, come home, get paid, pay bills, clean up, and then the cycle repeats itself. It's not really no expanding. I mean, I'm not gonna say it's not no expanding, but you got to do some shit where it's like mind you, I just left my job. You know what I'm saying? Left my job to come here to create a video. You're gonna be dog shit tired. Like, if you want to do other things with your life, if you want to, you know what I'm saying, you got other hobbies, you got other things that you're trying to create, trying to grow, you know what I'm saying, you gotta lock in with yourself and do those things, because when you're an adult and you're going to work and you're putting your money to bills constantly, it's gonna feel like you're doing all this just to stay in the cycle. But in order to break that cycle, you gotta actually put extra time in. You know what I'm saying? You gotta put extra time into yourself.
$0. The benefit of additional time and saving money is phenomenal. Do you think I could have uploaded 40 plus videos this year if I lived by myself? Absolutely not. By the way, like and subscribe. We're almost at 30K, and I would really appreciate it if you click those 2 buttons right there. On the other hand, people who moved out are more independent. Living on your own shapes you to be someone else, and you'll grow in a way that wouldn't be possible with your parents' support. No one's there to hold your hand anymore. And when you remove that security blanket, you become self-reliant. By managing your own expenses, learning to take care of yourself on your own, you evolve. For example, one of my friends could not cook if his life depended on it. One time he served me bacon like this. Them shits was still oinking. And ever since he moved out, he had to buy his own groceries, prepare his own meals, and his cooking has actually been pretty good. I'm willing to bet that if this person was thrown in a random city with no connections, they'll be able to figure out how to adapt. And I'm sure that gives you confidence because you can navigate your life through unknown situations. Being out on your own also forces you to talk to people. If you're in a new area full of strangers, you'll eventually venture out to make friends. When you're out exploring the city, you'll probably bump into the people that share the same interests and become very close friends with them. And now your connections expanded from just your hometown. At the same time though, for the ones who stayed in their hometown,
nah, I disagree with that, because one thing, I don't know, I can't speak for everybody, but I would like to think that when you get to a certain age where you start owning your own shit, your rent is too high to be going out and not enjoying the luxury of your home. Like, you're going to want to be home, whether you want to enjoy your rent, whether you genuinely just want to be home, whether you've been working all fucking week, and the moment that you just get to let your hair down and breathe and relax, there's no better place to do that than the comfort of your 4 walls. You know what I'm saying?
I feel like the closeness of old friends grew even stronger. Regardless of what social media makes it seem, the majority of people stay with their family even after high school graduation, and because of that, I was able to bond more with the friends I already had. A lot of my closest friends are like 6-7 year relationships that I met from high school, and I don't think I would be as close to them if I moved somewhere else. When it comes to people who are in like a toxic, controlling household, the ones that move out seem to be in a better relationship with their family. You know the saying, absence makes the heart grow fonder? I think in a platonic sense, your parents get used to you not being around the house as often, and they start lessening their control towards you. They see how you're fine on your own and give you more freedom, and hopefully that makes your family get along better. I just wanted to call out the differences between living on your own versus with parents. I know it's easy to get blindsided when you're watching other peers. You're gonna compare yourself with things you don't have, but the reality is both have their own blessings and benefits, and both have their own problems. It kind of sums up to this video.
Finally, my own apartment. Oh man, this is great. It's peaceful and it's quiet. Hello to my new life. Oh man, it is so nice not being around my parents or my siblings. And it's great not having to wake up to a vacuum cleaner or dishes being slammed around at 7 a.m. Honestly though, I am kind of lonely. It's so weird, I don't have anyone to hang out with. Man, I really wish my mom was here to cook for me. Hey mom, I miss you. Oh my gosh, there's so many dishes. How am I supposed to pay this bill?
But going back to our main topic, if you're in your 20s living with parents, that's okay. But if you do decide to move out, that decision shouldn't stem from societal pressure. It shouldn't be like, oh, everybody else is moving out in their 20s, so I should too. No, it should depend on what you're trying to accomplish for the next few years in your life. If you want to be in a brand new environment, venture out, gain some independence, and meet new people, you might want to consider living on your own. If you want to save as much money as you can for your future, it might be a better idea to stay at home. Nowadays, you really got to consider the financial aspect of it though, because we already know the cost of living and rent is atrocious.
Have you seen how much apartments cost? I'm not gonna lie, if you a grown-ass man and you still living with your mother,
nigga, stay there.
So you have to think about the trade-offs to even afford it. It might come with having a roommate, a smaller room, living in a dangerous neighborhood. Regardless, if you find moving out to be worth it, that is ultimately your decision. Unless you got kicked out of the house the moment you turn 18, but that's a topic for another video. I do have to say though, when you're an adult living with your parents, it's easy to fall into being babied. And what I mean by that is that you might still get treated like a 13-year-old even when you're 25. And I think you should be aware that living in this bubble with the comfort of your parents,
I'm not gonna lie though, but if it come to that point where, like, say you living with your parents and they still, like, say you 20, the moment you, I'm not gonna lie, 20 years old, right? 20 years old. That, I feel like that's the age where, okay, you live with your parents, but your parents still should respect. You respect their rules, obviously. You respect their household because they're paying the bills. My nigga, you're the bum. That's just the right thing to do. You know what I'm saying? Respect their rules, but at the same time, your parents should understand that you're of age where you need to be operating on your own time. You shouldn't be being babies. You know what I'm saying? They should actually start giving you responsibilities around the house, whether that be here, chip out with a bill, chip in on a bill. I'm watching too much Chud or some shit. I don't know, but yeah, chip in on a bill. Or have a chore, you know what I'm saying? Have these dishes done by this time. Have this bathroom clean. Take this trash out. Clean your fucking room. That shouldn't even clean your room. Dirty nigga, I'm talking to you. Clean your shit. But at the same time, you shouldn't be being babies, and you shouldn't be susceptible to being babies. You should, at the moment you turn 20 and you're still living with your parents, your actions, your mentality, your how you approach life, how you approach your day-to-day should be preparing you to take the next step.
Parent support should not be a permanent thing. No matter what, you are still relying on them, which is okay, but have a plan. You should not be depending on your parents forever. That's how this whole stigmatism was created, where you're that guy living in their mother's basement and incapable of moving out. And I said incapable, because there's a difference between having the full capability to move out but choosing to stay, versus having no other choice but to stay. American culture does make it look down upon for living with your parents in your 20s, and I feel like a lot of people get insecure when they share that they're home.
I don't even want to say American culture though, because a lot of people like one thing about them white families, they're gonna shelter their own. Them Asians gonna shelter their own. Them Mexicans is gonna shelter their own. Like who does that leave us? The black people, you know what I'm saying? The black people, we'd be such in a rush to grow up. And we'd be such in a rush to just push our kids out into the world, knowing that sometimes society isn't set up for them to jump off the porch right now. Wait a little bit, stay a little bit, like build yourself up, save some money, make sure you leave in this house with something, like some rainy day funds or something. That's one of the things I wish I had the luxury of doing, but unfortunately I'm not. But sometimes when you don't do that and you just jump out there, it forces you to learn on the fly, which could also be a good thing. You know what I'm saying? You either gonna sink or swim in this shit. So you gotta decide what you wanna do. It's been your boy RushMoreRick. We out of here. Deuces.